When Brian and Jessica went on their vacation just only a year after getting married, they had no idea the horror that would behold them on the Paradise Island. It would be the ultimate test of love with sacrifice, but an unfortunate ending will turn what was supposed to be a happily ever after into a tragedy. Hi everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel, I am so happy to have you. I hope you stick around and come back again. If you've been here before and you've been here before and before, then thank you for coming again. I really appreciate it. And if you love crime stories, you like a good mystery and a good crime story, well, you can just simply subscribe to my channel, because that's what I talk about here. I talk about crime stories that took place right here in the Caribbean. So yeah, not only subscribe, but like and hit that notification bell so you will not miss when I upload new videos, which I'm hoping to be more consistent. Yeah, more consistent with it. Oh, also, if you see any little changes to the channel, I am just trying to find my groove. I'm trying to find my lane and be more comfortable with my channel and the way I envision it to be. So if you see that I changed the name, or I might change it again, I don't know. I'm just trying to work my way around. So if you see that there are little changes, things I take out or things that I've added in, just bear with me. I'm just trying to take my time and navigate through my YouTube channel and create it and make it into what I envision it to be. With that out of the way, we're going to jump right into our crime story. Brian Melito, a hospitalist doctor and a divorced father of 3, had been single for a while, and he went on a week-long workshop in Costa Rica. While on this workshop, Jessica Coker walked up to him and simply said, "Hi, I'm Jess." And I'm sure she had like a great smile on her face, like, "Hi, I'm Jess." And that's how it all began. That's how they started an amazing friendship. And Jessica and Brian, by the end of the workshop, they did not want to leave each other and they did not want to go back to their separate homes. But nevertheless, Jessica, she went back to her job as a physician's assistant at a children's hospital in Atlanta, while Brian, he was based in Spring Township, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. So of course, they're living in 2 separate areas and it would be difficult for them to see each other. So what they decided to do was that they would spend some time together whenever they can. They would go on weekend getaways and in the mountains, and they would have boat houses and just spend time together as much as possible while living in 2 separate areas. So you see, long distance relationship, it is kind of workable. Now, spending all this time together, it was not long before Brian knew that Jessica was the one he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. He was in awe of Jessica, and soon there were talks of marriage, starting a family, and just spending the rest of their lives together, going on adventures and being happy. So their engagement was official in spring of that year, 2014, and not too long after that, in November of that same year, they got married, and they tied the knot in this elegant, romantic, simple wedding ceremony. 1 year later, after their beautiful wedding ceremony, Jessica, who loved going on adventures and exploring, she picked out their latest getaway, Grenada. So Brian and Jessica landed on Grenadian soil on the afternoon of January 23rd, 2016. They spent the evening swimming, and they went to bed early because they had a long day ahead of them and they wanted to get that rest so that the next day they would wake up ready, energetic, ready to explore Grenada and all the adventures it had to offer. So the next morning, Jessica and Brian, they got up and they had this early, beautiful breakfast together, had some quiet time, taking in the atmosphere. And while having breakfast, the owner of the hotel, he came and he told them that there was this area that they could explore not too far from the hotel, that they could take a little walk and just explore. It's very quiet and secluded, and they should check it out. So Brian and Jessica, they gathered their things and packed some stuff up, put on their swimsuits, and they got on their way. So they passed Lasagis Beach when they decided to take a trail leading them to another beach. And that beach was known as Las Pierre. So they wanted to swim and eat lunch, but while hearing the rushing waves hitting the sand and the songs of the birds flying in the air and making that chirping noise, and while smelling the salt coming from the sea, taking the walk on the beach, Brian heard something that did not fit in with the quiet, calm atmosphere that he was surrounded by. He heard his wife yell out, "Brian!" And I guess by the sound of her voice and the tone of her voice, he knew something was wrong. He turned around and he beheld this tall, dark man holding his wife, waving around a butcher's knife. And he just told Brian, "Come with me." Brian, he's just standing there in his swimsuit and had nothing in his hand. He didn't have anything to defend himself. He's just standing there. Brian was terrified. He was losing his mind, thinking, what is going on? What should I do? How am I going to defend me and my wife? He was looking around to see if there's anything that he could pick up while he is going more and more into the densely bushy area. So Brian is thinking, okay, maybe it's a robbery. So he's offering the man money. "I have money. Do you want money? We could give you money. Just let my wife go. We could deal with it." The man is ignoring them, so then maybe it's not a robbery. So he's thinking, okay, so maybe it's a kidnapping gang where they kidnap you and hold you for ransom. So because he was dressed in all white, they're talking to the man, trying to figure out, what exactly do you want? What do you want from us? Why are you doing this? But the man, he just kept quiet and just gave them blank stares. And Brian, he didn't know what to do. So it's not a robbery because he's not taking their money. But why is he dressed in all white though? Like, that's a very unusual color for you to dress in. If I would think that if you're going to rob or attack somebody, the most likely color you would wear would be black, because you would try to camouflage yourself. It's a bit strange that he was dressed in all white. That's very, very strange. And so while all this is happening, Jessica and Brian, they're trying to talk the man down, talk him through it and find out what's going on. What do you want? Let's help you. We can work this out. Just let us go. Maybe all those things they're saying. Unable to come up with a plan as to how they can get away from this man, Brian is about to make a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. So Brian's wife, Jessica, she encouraged him to run. Because remember, the large man is holding Jessica and he's not holding Brian. So Brian was free to run and go get help. So his wife, Jessica, told him, "Go and get help, run." And that's what Brian decided to do. And he thought, okay, maybe I would go get help, get more people, come back, and they would help get Jessica away from this tall, huge man that's holding her captive. So Brian ran off to the next direction to get help. He ran back to the hotel. He told them to call the police, and everybody who was at the hotel who was available, they went back with Brian to get Jessica. But upon arriving at the scene, they found Jessica's lifeless body just lying there partially naked, facing down next to a pond. It was described as a really brutal crime. She was struck in the head hard enough to kill her, and the evidence indicated that she had been strangled and sexually assaulted. I could just imagine how Brian felt when he walked back to the place where he left his wife, thinking he's going to, I'm very sure that he probably would have been optimistic because now help is on its way, and you know, he's probably thinking, okay, I brought these people back, the police are on their way, we're gonna get my wife away from this man. And to go back to where he left her, and now she is found there lifeless. Oh boy, that, like I said, it's something that he has to live with for the rest of his life, the decision that he made to run away and leave his wife. Maybe he's thinking, if I didn't run away and I had stayed, maybe I could have fought him off. Maybe I could have eventually found something to defend me and Jessica. Maybe the outcome would have been different if I didn't leave her alone by herself. Now, who would have wanted to commit such a crime? I mean, there were tourists on the island. They were there just visiting. I'm sure they knew nobody on the island personally. And so police began their investigations into the murder of Jessica. But it would turn out that the investigation would not be very long and too hard, because persons had witnessed a man named Benjamin carrying a cutlass and heading towards the beach around the time Jessica was attacked. Now, it was revealed that minutes before this attack on Jessica and Brian, Benjamin tried to rob a British retired man named Andrew Hancock. Now, Andrew was more of a tall man. He was 6 feet tall, and he was considerably larger than Brian. So he stood up to Benjamin, and he stood his ground, and while Benjamin came to attack him, Benjamin was realizing, I can't go with this one. He left and he went and looked for his next victims, which unfortunately turned out to be Brian and Jessica. After the murder, Benjamin walked into the police station and he turned himself in. Now, Andrew was able to identify him and pinpoint him out of a lineup and said, yeah, this is the man that tried to attack me. So now Benjamin is in police custody, and a few days that followed, it was revealed that he was fresh out of prison. Benjamin was serving time in prison for raping a teenage girl. And police thought that they had no doubt that if Brian didn't listen to his wife and if he didn't run to get the help that he got, Benjamin would have probably, most likely, killed Brian as well. So in a way, the police, they thought that Jessica sacrificed herself to save her husband. They thought that Jessica did the right thing by telling Brian to run and to go get help. Now this is like the first case where I'm not really wondering why. Like, why did Benjamin do it? What was his motive behind it? Why did he choose Jessica? This is the first case I'm doing on this channel that I'm not wondering why, because I think we all know why. I mean, it's no other reason other than he's a stone cold killer, and we just have to admit that they're just persons. They're just people like that living among us in our society. So the judge in the courtroom, the judge made him look at the graphic crime scene photos, and Benjamin had no reaction, or he had no remorse while looking at those photos and knowing he was the one that committed the crime. He showed no remorse, he showed no reaction, he showed no emotions. It was like he was dead inside. And now Brian lives alone in an apartment in New Jersey with his rescue dog Dexter. And he spent most of his time trying to come to terms with what happened while he was on vacation with his wife in Grenada. In an interview with the Daily Mail, he was quoted as saying,
I was perhaps one of the luckiest people in the world, and I've suddenly become one of the unluckiest. Pretty much all of my dreams and aspirations disappeared. He took all that away.
So that is the end of this crime story. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. How do you feel about this case? And also, I want to let you know that if you know of any crime stories, or if you have any crime stories that you would like for me to talk about on my channel, just drop me the info in the comments below and I'll get on it. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, that is. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.